Krishna. Chali, let's begin. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakṣuruन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutpad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. All right, so let's begin. We are on chapter 15th and we learned 2 shlokas yesterday, and we also first 2 shlokas are talking about the tree of life which we have created and we are stuck into it. How many roots we have made ourselves by going after those desires, eating those fruits, taking out one seed and then putting another, and then again, create one more. So this tree of life, our own tree of life, has extended in all the 14 planetary systems. We have been doing this up and down, creating more roots, branching out more and more, and becoming more and more deep-rooted. We don't even know. Our tree of life has become so big. We don't even know where we started, where we are going, what to do now. We are stuck. So this tree of life is like the great banyan tree. But where is our original roots? Our original roots is in the spiritual world. Bhagwan is pointing us to remember that. He's reminding us. Okay? Bhagwan said, the real form which I'm talking, that kind of tree cannot be seen in this world. It cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand from where it ends and where it begins, where its foundation. But with determination, one must cut down this tree. So one quality he said, with determination. Second quality he said, asanga shastrena drinena chitva. Shloka number 3. Asanga shastrena drinena chitva. By the weapon of detachment. Why did we create this tree, first of all? Our desires, our attachments, our aversions. So we got stuck. So now we have to cut. How do we cut? We cut it with weapon of detachment. All right. Then Bhagwan says, thereafter one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. This is a very important chapter, this chapter, because Bhagwan is talking about his abode. In India, there's a tradition, when somebody passes out, we have a mourning for the next 13 days. We mourn. During those next 13 days, there was a tradition started by our ancestors that one must read the Bhagavad Gita. Or there's another Puran called Garuda Puran. But Bhagavad Gita was the initial, people used to read Bhagavad Gita. I still remember my grandfather passed away and I was in 6th grade. I went to village because all the village people were there and we had to do the program for 13 days over there. And then they had hired a priest who used to come in the evenings and all, and he used to sit and he used to read the Bhagavad Gita. I still have that memory of hearing some part of Bhagavad Gita from him. Though I was in 6th grade, hardly my age was like, 12 or something. I didn't remember much, but I know the feeling of it. 13 days he was reading Gita. And people used to gather and listen to that Gita. And then prasadam was served to people. That used to be the tradition, which is now gone completely. People are following the tradition just like a ritual. Many times people die and then I get calls from their relatives. They're like, what do we read? What ritual we are supposed to do? Should I be reading Bhagavad Gita or should I be reading the Garuda Puran? Okay, I'll be like, whatever is feasible for you. No, but we have to go to office. No. How is it possible to do all this? Not possible. Okay. Can you tell me Gita? If I read Gita, which chapter in Gita? I have heard that we have to read 15th chapter. I read on the internet 15th or the 18th chapter. Should I just read that? Yeah, read it. People think that after somebody has passed, you have to do a ritual just for that person who has passed. Man, that person is gone. Whatever his karmas he has done, he has gone on his journey. You are left behind. You don't read a Gita as a ritual. Oh, one ritual I have to do, I have to read one part. And for them. Yeah, your good vibration will definitely go to them. But this Gita has to be read for you. Because you are also going to die one day the way this person has died. That is the truth. So one chapter is not going to do anything. Because you have to change. The dead person cannot be changed anymore. You have to change. Those who have done this journey with me from first chapter onwards, you will know how much Bhagwan has spoken, what all things he has given, how much he is trying to open our eyes, how much is giving this knowledge, enlightening us every day about the temporary existence of this world and our placement here. One day we all have to leave. But how should we leave? We came here ignorantly. We don't know why we came, why we had this parent, why we had this situation. We don't know. Well, that was your ignorant past. You're reading Gita now. Don't die like an ignorant fool. Die like an awakened person, enlightened person. Know where you will be going next. You should know. I came helplessly, but I will not go helplessly. Bhagwan started speaking from chapter 8. How you should leave your body. Think of me and come to my abode. And Bhagwan said, if you come to my abode, you don't have to come back to this temporary world again. This temporary world full of miseries. You will not have to come back to this world again. Bhagwan spoke in chapter 8. He went on explaining the science of this world. What is Purush? What is Prakriti? What is Kshetra? What is Kshetragya? What is this body? Every element. He went to the detail, explaining everything. So that you should be confident with the science. This is not blind faith. He just didn't make a blind statement. Oh, just follow me, just follow me. No, he doesn't want followers. He's giving you the science behind it. He is explaining you the truth, the ultimate truth, the absolute truth. He's reminding you again and again. Started from chapter 8. Actually started from chapter 2. You are the soul. You are tied in this body. What is this body? What is the field of activities of this body? You are consciousness, you are mind, you are intellect, you are ego, but you are not the false ego. Your consciousness, your worldly consciousness makes you feel that you are something. But make it godly consciousness, make it Krishna conscious. Come to my abode. That is your abode. Now Bhagwan again comes to chapter 15th. He's again reminding us the same thing. That this world, as per the Vedas, he is giving us the gist of the Vedas. In Vedas, you will hear all this again and again. This is what the Vedas is all about. People want to read Vedas. I tell you, read Bhagavad Gita. You have read Vedas. Now, after reading Bhagavad Gita, go and read the Vedas. You will know all the words that I've taught you, all the vocabulary that I've taught you. Apply them in the Vedas. You will understand. Same thing, nothing different. Bhagwan says, in the Vedas, there is a concept of this world being like an upside down tree, like a Dashvatha tree. We started from chapter 15. All that variety that is here in this world, but with defects. Love here is filled with selfishness. Love is filled with lust. If you are useful to me, then the love will survive. If there is no usefulness, the love will die down, fade out. But there in that world, you experience true love. All those things that you are experiencing here, you experience same thing in its truest form, in its real form, in that world, that spiritual world. We belong to that spiritual world. Bhagwan is trying to open our eyes to that thing. All the love that you are experiencing here, you will experience there. So come back to that world again. Come back to my abode. I have sent you to this earth only to enjoy. But you have taken it so seriously that you are only suffering. Do not suffer anymore. If you want to live in the world, live like an enlightened person, like an awakened person, knowing the science behind it. Knowing the science behind each and every emotion. Rise above it. Live like a knowledgeable person. That is what Bhagwan in every shloka is trying to explain. Don't live like a bound person. You are born free. Live like a free person. A free person is a person who has the knowledge. Don't live like an ignorant person. Ignorance is binding. Knowledge frees you. Bhagwan is giving us knowledge in every shloka. All right, Bhagwan, we are stuck in this tree. How do I cut it? Bhagwan says, by determination. First, get determined. Second, by detachment. How will you detach yourself? You have to know this is unreal. All relationships here are unreal. All love here is unreal. Go beyond the dualities. Sukha and dukkha. Sukha dukkha sangir. All that thing that is giving you happiness, you think, oh, I only want this, I only want this. All those things, those give you unhappiness. You don't want them. But this is all just an illusion. You may hate somebody so much that you want to see their downfall. And you don't see their downfall. And you're like, whoa, this person is so bad. He should be really, he should be really punished. But the person doesn't fall. Same person whom you hate so much is being loved by many others. And they are praying that this person should shine. Your prayers fail and their prayers are powerful. So just imagine, the person is the same. You have hatred and somebody has love. They both are fake. They both are illusion. Same way with everything in the world, whatever you see. There is no such thing called sadness. There is no such thing called happiness. The thing which gave you happiness is also temporary. The thing which is sadness is also temporary. Those objects, those places, those people whom you feel, oh, I need them in my life. Everybody is going to live one day. Maybe some people will live early. Some people will go with you till the end of your life. One day, bye-bye. So live in this world like that, completely detached. Enjoy the moment. I live like that. I don't have to show it to the world that I live like that. You'll find me very happy, chirpy all the time because I know the temporariness of life. I took that very seriously. Everything is temporary. All emotions are temporary. Let me enjoy this life. Let me enjoy the temporariness of life. It makes me so free in my head. Wow, everything will come, everything will go. As long as it is with me, enjoy. The day it goes, still enjoy. Temporariness is a bliss. Bhagwan. And what is the only thing permanent? Bhagwan reminded us. Bhagwan himself. All right. I've come in this world like a tourist. This planet is my, I've come on a tourist destination, planet Earth. My destination, finally I have to go back home. Goloka Vrindavan. Permanent abode. Why worry then? When you go to some place as a tourist, you don't get attached to the place. One day you have to go home. No matter wherever you go, you pack your bags and you travel throughout the world. Oh, I'm going on a world tour for 2-3 years. You be on your world tour. You go from country to country. You take all sorts of vehicles. You go in the ship. You go in car. You go in planes. You go in trains. Spend like 2-3 years. You eat all varieties of food. Live in all sorts of hotels, Airbnbs. Do whatever you want to do. But your mind will always be restless. You are seeing so many things, enjoying so many things. At one point, you'll say, oh, I wish I want to go home. I'm done. 2 years, 3 years, you'll be done. I want to go home. And once you reach home, you see your favorite bed. It's not as good as the 5-star hotel which you lived, but your bed is there. You may not see a buffet or so many varieties of food from country to country that you enjoyed. You will just have your dal chawal with ghee. And you'll be like, wow, this is the tastiest food I ever. Whatever you like, just said dal chawal because that's our Indian food. But whatever you like, home cooked food, your home, your taste. You feel peaceful when you go back to your own home. Until then, you will not be. Similarly, this tree of life, is like the same network. We have been traveling different bodies. Sometimes we became Devata, sometimes we became animals, sometimes we became Yaksha, sometimes Gandharva, somewhere other, some human, something. Some life maybe a Muslim, some life maybe a Christian, some life maybe a Hindu, some life maybe a German, Russian, Indian, African, Chinese, Korean. We have become everything. All animal kingdom we have been through. All plant kingdom we have been through. We have changed our dress so many times. Our dress is like that vehicle, changing trains, changing ferries, changing rickshaws and going to different places. We have done that journey so many times. But we are still restless. Why? Because we have still not gone to our home, our real home. And that real home is spiritual abode. Bhagwan is giving us that. Bhagwan is like, done. Done with all your visit, all your attachment. Do you want to see any more sights anywhere? No, Mama, I want to come back home. I'm done with all the sightseeing. I have seen the world enough. Want to come back home. All right, then come back. How do you come back? Well, just chant my name. This is the ticket. Say my name. Come back. Come back home. Make the determination. And then don't get lost again in this sightseeing of this world. This temporary world of 14 planetary system. You don't want to get into this sightseeing anymore. Done. So Bhagwan says, Dvandair vimuktaha sukha-dukha samgair gacchantya padam avayantam. Those who have made this determination and they develop this detachment, they definitely will come to that destination, which is the eternal kingdom. That supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or the moon, nor by fire, nor by electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So all the Vaikunthas, Manidvipa, Goloka Vrindavan, all of these Rama Vaikunthas are there. Many Vaikunthas, many planets are there in that spiritual zone, spiritual realm. Like in this earth itself, if you just take one globe, so many countries are there. We haven't been to so many countries also. We don't even know the names. When they show the Olympics, I used to see so many countries. I don't even know the names, their flags. But this earth itself has so many zones, so many countries, so many residents. Same way, whatever is in this macrocosm, is in microcosm. The same logic applies. So this earth is like a map of that spiritual world. If there can be so many zones here, same way in that spiritual world, there are so many zones. You have the choice to go where you want to go. Like you were born in India. I was born in India. I made a choice to come to America. Some people don't come to America. They only live in India. They like it. I like to go all over the world. So if I can do that journey here on earth, similarly, when I go to my spiritual kingdom, my real home, yeah, I can go to any other places. I can go to Manudvip. I can go to Kailash, Shivpuri. I can go to Saket. I can go to any other place. And then I can choose to be just in Golok Vrindavan because I like that place more than anything else. Got it? So when they make a statement, whatever is in macrocosm is in microcosm, yat pindi tat brahmande, and same way. It is just the same way. The same way that this globe is, we will have so many varieties. Whatever varieties we are seeing here, similarly, there are many, many varieties, many, many universes in the spiritual world, many, many Vaikunthas in the spiritual world. Okay? So we get the hint of all these things in our scriptures. Bhagwan is just giving in these 2 shlokas. Bhagwan yesterday said, 7th shloka, one of my most favorite shloka. Mamaivancho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manaśchāyaṃ indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Bhagwan says, the living entities in this world are my eternal fragmental parts. I love this statement. When Bhagwan says, you, my dear one, are my part. Can you imagine how powerful that statement is? Till now, I was thinking I am just this body born to these parents. Till now, I was suffering in this world, thinking this world, everything is whatever my world is. I'm experiencing all of these things here. But now when I read this, oh, my world is there. And then Bhagwan says, you are my part and parcel. You are my fragment. Oh my God, can you believe this? I feel so happy. I becoming a part and parcel of Bhagwan. What kind of, how did he rise my position just now, just now, just by hearing that. I just feel like, wow. Till now, I was so insignificant in this world. So insignificant. But Bhagwan, you telling me, I'm your part and parcel. You just gave me that importance. People are looking to please God. They say so many prayers, God, you are this, God, you are that, God, you are that. And the same God whom everybody is praising, that big God, universal God, whatever God you talk, that God has become Krishna, the two-handed. Then that God from that Krishna, from his mouth is telling me, oh my dear one, you are my part and parcel. Oh my God, I tell you, every time I read this, I get thrilled. I am part and parcel of you, Bhagwan. I am yours. Bhagwan is saying, you are mine. I am yours. What kind of relation? I am yours, you are mine. And this relation is permanent. I was living in so much illusion for all these years, for all these lives, finding permanency everywhere else. I was thinking everybody else is mine. Some considered them as mine, some left me. Bhagwan here says, you are my eternal. The word is eternal. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. You are my eternal fragment. I and you have been eternally together. You know what eternally means? Bhagwan said, I come and from me you come. I and you are sitting there together always in the heart. You are Atma, I am Paramatma. He and I are the same age. Do you know that? From the time he was there, I'm also there. I'm his fragment. So from the time he is there, I'm also there. So his age and my age are the same. When we are the same age, what are we called? We are friends. When Bhagwan says, I am your best friend, now I understood why he said his age and my age, we are ageless. He is eternal, I am eternal. I am his fragment. He held my hands throughout. He never left me. I forgot him. No problem. Because he created a game. I got lost in that bulbulaya, in that labyrinth. But now, I know. He's lovingly telling me. He's asking me. I told you, this Bhagavad Gita, to me, maybe he's talking a different language. For me, it is one-on-one. It's a love letter from him. As you know, when parents, when they leave, they will write a will. Okay, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you. Sometimes they may write their whatever instruction they want to give to their kids in the will, and you open the will and you see, wow, my parents wrote this for me. I just feel Bhagavad Gita is the same. His will, he has given it to me. Read it, come back, do not get lost in this world again. Every time I read any shloka, I read, be strong, do not fall down. I have given you every code of conduct. And if you ever feel alone, I am there always with you in your heart. Everywhere is saying that. Mama evancho jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. Do not think you are insignificant. You are very significant. Why? Because you are mine. Mama evancho. You are my ansha, my part. Mama evancho jiva loke. All these living entities in this world are my part. Bhagwan's part. Do you know how important that is? Suddenly you realize, if somebody tells you, oh, you are a part of this kingdom belongs to you, how will you feel? Oh, till now I was living on the streets and suddenly I got the kingdom is mine, and the king and the queen comes, oh, the kingdom is yours. Bhagwan in this 2 shlokas is telling that. Come back to that kingdom. Come back to that eternal kingdom. God, do I have a qualification? Yes, my dear, you are my part and parcel. The kingdom belongs to you. Come back. God, then everybody is your part and parcel. Then why are they suffering, Bhagwan? Bhagwan said, yeah, because they are suffering because manaśchāyaṃ indriyāni prakriti sthāni karshati. Due to conditioned life. They are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. Shariram yadvapnoti yachapu utkramati ishvaraha grihetvaitani samyati vayur gandha evashaya. But Bhagwan is now giving us the knowledge. He says, yes, you are in this body. You got conditioned because of the mind and the 6 senses. But yet, even after that conditioning, I'm telling you, you are pure. And you have the right to the kingdom, the eternal kingdom, the spiritual abode. No matter how many bodies you took, still you are that pure soul. You are part and parcel of me. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries the aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and quits and then takes another kind of body. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. The foolish utkramantam stitam vapi Munjanam va gunanvitam vimūಢānānupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakṣuḥah. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Utkramantam sitam vapi mujanam vagunanvitam vimūಢānānupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakṣuḥah. This temporariness of life, why we took so many bodies, what happened, only foolish people are not able to see. But one who is now situated in knowledge, who has solved this riddle of life like a Buddha, does not get stuck again. Buddha declares, now I understood. I found out the maker of this body. Now impossible. Same thing, this is what it is. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam. The day we were created, all knowledge has been given to us in our soul. All knowledge. This knowledge of Gita, though we are reading like a, we have become very, what do you call, our brains have reduced, I feel sometimes. Things which could be perceived, which is already there in the heart, already there in the soul, our chip is already there. But we have to read so much to understand that, to have that knowledge. So knowledge, the purpose of knowledge is to free us. When we were created, all the knowledge was given to us. But we got, every time this Prakriti, Prakriti's play is there. We got so stuck in the play, we started forgetting our real self. Vedas were always there from time immemorial. God's knowledge is coming from outside and from your internal voice. But we transgress the internal voice. Bhagwan's voice is very quiet. We hear it. Our heart skips a bit. We feel, but then we are like, oh, let me just go. Go behind all the glamour of the world. So Ved, I have so many times explained, Ved is one is the book. And Ved is one is the Vedana, your inner heart, your emotion. When you do right or wrong, your heart will just speak that Vedana, that Anubhav. When you're on the spiritual path, this will become more and more stronger. If you transgress it, that is inner voice, that is God's voice, it will stop. You will not be able to hear. Because you don't want to hear, because you chose not to hear. Then you go on in the world. And you go so far that you are caught in the world completely. It's not that God does not send people to guide you. God does. God always does from the time you were created. This Shloka, when he said, all of you are mine, from that time, he has given you all the knowledge. It's all there in your heart. You fail to listen. Then you go to gurus. You fail to listen. You go to books. You fail to listen. Bhagwan says, no problem. I'm giving you the Gita now. Now at least you listen. Choice is yours to practice. Bhagwan said, you have to cut this tree. You can only cut it by determination, by detachment. You are all my part and parcel. You are all eligible to come to that kingdom. You are stuck because of your conditioned mind. And because of this conditioned mind, this conditioning, you are taking bodies again and again. Now understand that and come out of it. Knowledgeable person knows this. This is what he's trying to say. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyantatmani avasthitam yatanto api kritatmano nainam pashyanti chetasaha. The endeavoring transcendentalist who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. I will read the purport of this. The first one, the word Gyan Chakshu is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity is living in his present body and what happens when he leaves his body, nor what form of body is he going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Every living entity is quitting his body under certain circumstances. He is living under circumstances and he is enjoying it under certain circumstances under the spell of the material nature. As a result, he is suffering from different kind of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power, which I was explaining. The inner voice tells you what you don't want to, because the outside glamour is too strong. Be it be spiritual glamour or be it be material glamour. Sometimes we get lost. So persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand their change of body and their stay in a particular body. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body from and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditioned life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yoginaha is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are so many so-called yogis and there are so many so-called associations of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatanto api akritatmanaha, even though they are endeavoring in the so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, the Supreme Lord, in other words, the Bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness can understand how things take place. Obviously, Gita, you understood everything. Yada aditya gatam tejo jagad bhasyate khilam yet chandramasi yet chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. Bhagwan says, the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of food. So Bhagwan is saying, I am everywhere spread. Now Bhagwan comes to the main shloka of this chapter, one of the beautiful shlokas, which is again one of my favorites, because Bhagwan taught this to me practically. So some of the things, he has done it. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannavishto matta smritirgyanapohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Bhagwan in this shloka says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannavishto. I live in everybody's heart. Before that, he said, Bhagwan said so many things, okay? He says, I am, if you look at the sun, I am Surya Narayan, I am giving the light to sun. If you look at the moon, I am Krishna Chandra, I give light to the moon. So the sun, the moon, and the fire. The fire is burning in your body. It is at digesting the food. It is making you live. That fire is me. So outside you see, I am there. Inside you see, I am there. And yet, there is one place. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannavishto. I live in the heart of everyone. Matta smritir jnanapohanam cha. From me comes remembrance. Matta smritir jnana. From me comes knowledge. Apohanam cha. Vismriti means forgetfulness. So from me comes jnana. From me comes knowledge. From me comes remembrance. From me comes forgetfulness. Vedaischa sarvairaham veda vedyo. All the Vedas. Ahameva. I certainly am the Vedas. Veda vedyo. Through that Veda, whom you have to know? Me. Vedanta krit Veda. I am the one who created Vedanta, who wrote Vedanta, compiled Vedanta. Vedanta krit Veda videma. Veda videva chaham. I am the one who knows the Vedas. He made it very clear in this shloka. You are looking for Vedas? Look at Krishna. Which Krishna? 200 form who is talking. Bhagwan Uvacha. What is it that you want to know from the Vedas? If you know Krishna, you know everything. No, we heard about Vedanta, something very different. Bhagwan says, I wrote the Vedanta. And I alone know the Vedas. So if someone knows me, they know everything. No matter how many books on Vedas you read, no matter how much you claim you are so intelligent, brainy, knowledgeable, bookish knowledge, whatever you can be have so much pride. Bhagwan says, from me comes remembrance, memory. From me comes forgetfulness. From me comes all the knowledge. And where do I live? I live in your heart. This is one of my very, very favorite things, because one time I was called in some place to give a lecture. And before me, there was a very popular speaker who was going to speak. And he is famous, and everybody, in my area were his followers. They said, no, why don't you come and you give the lecture? I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. I'll come. So I'm not a very public person, so I don't like public appearances and all. But since it was my friend's request, and I have to speak on Bhagwan, so I never say no for seva. It's a seva that I have to do. It's the seva of my Vani. So Bhagwan is inspired that person for me to speak. I will speak. So that lecture I wrote down some points, thinking, okay, I will talk on these points. And when I was called, and before that, before me, that other speaker had spoken very well, and he has all his followers. So they are all talking about, how they were happy to listen to him. And here I go. I only know the host. I know nobody. And in my heart, I was like, literally my heartbeat, started going up and down. Like my blood pressure shooting up, because I have to speak in front of so many people. And what am I going to speak? I'm not a public speaker. So I thought whatever the points is there, I will speak on that. So I take out the paper and I look at the points. You have no idea. I forgot everything, brainwashed, like completely like blank. I'm looking at the points. At least the point should remind me, right? What I'm going to speak. I can't remember anything. What are these points meant for? And then I look at the people and they're like very intently, they want to hear about me. For them, who is this person? And then I look at everyone and then I look at my points. So the way I overcome my fear, is I give a big smile. I tell you, my smile, I have to smile. I have to laugh. This is the way I overcome my fear. So I looked at the audience. I first smiled. So when I smiled, I felt nice. And then I remembered my gurus. And then I remembered Krishna. And then I told whatever they inspired me to tell. I spoke. I was given some time and I went on beyond the time, and people were they were very attentive and they were listening. And I could see the response from the audience was very strong. Nobody is getting bored or anything. So they're listening to me very strongly. And the lecture is going on. In the end, I spoke something. I felt very relaxed. The lecture ended and then we went for prasadam. So we are having prasadam and so many people started crowding me. And then they came. They are like, the way you taught, these questions was nagging in our head for so long. Thank you for addressing that. I'm like, okay. Then somebody else comes. Oh, you spoke about this topic. This is so important. You spoke about that. You were so awesome. Where have you learned from? Have you learned Bhagavad Gita? I'm like, what to tell? I'm like, no, whatever God inspired me to speak and my gurus inspired me to speak, I just spoke. Really, I'm not as intelligent as you people. You people must have by-hearted all the shlokas. You all are expert. I have never by-hearted shlokas. I cannot by-heart shlokas. My memory is very poor. And if God inspires me to speak, and today I realized one thing, if God inspires me to speak, then only I can speak. Otherwise, I cannot even speak anything. So if something has come out good, and if your heart liked it, thank you so much, Bhagwan did it. And then I come back home, thinking about the whole situation, it was. And then I went in my temple room. I opened the Gita. And the shloka that comes is this shloka number 15. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannavishto matta smritirgyānapohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahmeva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham. I said tears rolling down in my eyes. Bhagwan said, I am sitting in everybody's heart. So if they understood anything, who made them understand? They were having questions. I didn't know anybody. I don't know. But Bhagwan answered them. That day I was the instrument to answer. I forgot everything what I was supposed to speak, whatever I prepared. The second line explains it all. Matta smritirgyānapohanam cha apohanam. I am forgetfulness. I am Gyan, that knowledge that has to be given. I am memory. I am remembrance. I felt so humbled after reading these two lines and confident. Humbled and confident both. There is no knowledge that I have, really. My memory, I cannot rely on. I really cannot rely. I genuinely am telling you, I'll forget everything. I cannot rely on my memory. I cannot rely on my intelligence. I cannot rely on anything, but I can rely on Bhagwan. And where is Bhagwan? Bhagwan is in my heart. Bhagwan is in your heart. So if something you understand, Bhagwan is talking to you. This is the whole thing. All the Vedas, whatever you might have read, everything's end or sar or gist is called Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Sutra, Bhagwan says that Vedanta, that sar, that gist is me. This shloka says it all. What else do I want now? I have to just accept it. What else? God has given me everything. And I'm telling you, after understanding Gita only, I could understand anything else. I was behaving very smart. I used to think I am smart. I have read so many books before reading Gita and before surrendering to Krishna. And I used to think that is knowledge. But I'm telling you, there was only bookish knowledge. Gita is not a bookish knowledge. Gita is experience. I speak. This Ved that comes out is from the Vedanas, those experiences. that Bhagwan took me through in this life. Gita is not a bookish knowledge. It is experience. It is Ved. It is Vedant. And how do you understand? When you realize that he's sitting inside. He's talking. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannavishto matta smritirgyana pohanam cha. I don't care if I know anything, if I forget anything. As long as that loving relation with Bhagwan is there. Sar of all the knowledge, gist of all the knowledge. When somebody dies in India, they say Rāṇamēva satya. If only you can remember this, you are done. You have gotten all the knowledge. Rāṇamēva satya hai, Krishna satya hai. Bhagwan is ultimate truth. Bhagwan is everything. Bhagwan is Ved. Bhagwan is the end of Ved. Bhagwan says now, he will go on explaining few more things. Dvamimau purushai loke charakshara evacha charaksharvani bhutani kutostho akshara uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. Uttamaha purushastvanya parmatye udarita ya lokatrayam avishya vibharta avya ishvaraha. Besides this, too, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered into the three worlds and is maintaining them. Yasmat aksharam aham akshārādapi chottamaha ato asmi loko vedecha pratitha purushottama. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. Purpose of Vedas is to know the Supreme Person. They are talking about that Supreme Person. Tat tvam asi. That's a statement, right? Tat tvam asi. Tat means that. Tvam means tu, means you. Asi means is. So that, thou are that. Tat tvam asi. Om tat sat. That is the eternal truth. These are Ved Vakyas. Om tat sat. You are the eternal truth. I am Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. Knowledge is Brahma. These are Vedic sentences, Vedas. This is what happens in Vedas. That is what they are talking about. One says, whatever they are talking about, they are mentioning me. I am here standing in front of you and talking. They are mentioning about me. In this world, there are two kind of living entities. Bhagwan is saying, one is two class of beings. One is fallible. We are living entities. We are fallible. We fall because we keep taking birth. And then there is infallible. In the spiritual world, everybody is infallible. So we were given a body. We came here. We realize the truth. We go back to our world. We are infallible. Infallible means who do not get stuck in this game of life again. They are infallible. And beyond all this, he says, there is a super soul who is imperishable Lord Himself. And He has entered everywhere. So we are fallible living beings, but inside us, we are another living being. We are soul. Along with the soul, there is a super soul. These two are infallible. The soul gets conditioned in the body, and that is why it is falling. But once if the soul has realized its true self, and it has come back to my abode, he will not fall again. He has realized his true self. So then you may question, why Bhagwan all this? Well, this is just a game. Play it. When you play the game, it is fun. I don't feel entangled at all anymore. This question also doesn't arise in my head. Why Bhagwan? Why? No. I know it's your game. And I love playing games with you. So Bhagwan says, I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as the supreme person. Yo mameva sammuro janati purushottamam sa sarva vidbhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. So all this way he's telling, Vedas have told about that supreme person is me. Now he is very clearly saying, Yo mam evam asamuro janati purushottamam. Whoever knows me as the supreme personality of Godhead without doubting, no doubts, is the knower of everything. He therefore engaged himself in full devotional service unto me, O son of Bharata. Iti guhyatamam shastram idam muktam mayanagha etad buddha buddhimanasya kritakrityascha bharata. This is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. This is the last shloka for this. So Bhagwan has told all the Vedas, they are talking about something, and that supreme person that they are mentioning is me. Sometimes the Vedas will talk about the Brahman concept, that is coming from me. Sometimes the Vedas are talking about Purushottam, that Purush with 1,000 hands, 1,000 eyes. That Purush is me. Sometimes the Vedas are talking about Paramatma in the heart. That is me. Sometimes the Vedas are talking about Kshetrajna. That is me. I am beyond everything. All the Vedas are talking about me. So there are many, I'll just read one of the purports. There are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of living entities and the supreme absolute truth. Now in this verse, the supreme personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the supreme person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Bhagwan's bhakti, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole of the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the supreme absolute truth and the living entities to be one and the same. People say, no, I am God. No, you cannot be God. You are part and parcel of God. You are fragment of God. Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from source. Simply to hear like hogs is not sufficient. One must be able to understand it from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear. So you can use your academics here, but you will not understand it. So you have to be submissive. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna knows the purpose of the Vedas. The word bhajati is very significant here. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said if one is engaged in devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all the preliminary process of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point of that Krishna is the supreme and that one has to surrender there, all this speculation for so many years and lives is a useless waste of time. In this shloka, the last slok, Bhagwan calls him Anagha. Anagha means, O sinless one. I like this shloka. Because when he says Anagha, he is also reminding us, if he has given us this key to come to his loka, he wants to remind us, you are also sinless. The sin was done because of the Prakriti, because of your ignorance. You are Anagha, you are always sinless, always, always. From the day I created you, you were sinless. You are infallible. But why did you become fallible? Because of this Prakriti. Now I have given you the knowledge. Don't fall again. Come back. Come back to my supreme abode. Where you once reached, you don't have to come back to this temporary miserable world again. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Purushottam Yoga, the Yoga of Supreme Person. So little technical here, but a lot of good stuff. Now tomorrow we will be starting chapter 16, the divine and the demoniac natures. Very beautiful chapter. From now 16, 17, 18, all the chapters are very easy and very relatable to our life. So we will hear that tomorrow. Let me see your comments. Not many. All right. So Aman Ma, his internet might be acting up. Yeah, I got that, Gaurav. No problem. I'm so sorry. My internet failed. No problem. I got it. So hate is temporary. God is permanent. Yes. Sarvapriya writes, I was very confused and fearful to take a course, getting a nudge that I should do it. Took Gita to get a sign on what I should do. I opened chapter 5, last verse, and then this lecture just puts everything in perspective, taking a chill pill, knowing it is his game, enroll, work, and let everything else be with him. Wonderful, Sarvapriya. Great understanding. All right. All of you have a great day and great night ahead. May Lord Krishna bless you. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Ma Lalitambika. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Ma.
You're welcome.
Jai Shri Krishna.